Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello. Okay, stream starting very soon. Okay, welcome to this edition of Radio Waves. We're just going to do some FT8 and see what we're getting at the moment. We've got the 15 metre, 20 metre and 30 metre, which I don't do 30 metres. But we'll have a look at the bands now, and you can see there's a lot of calls coming in at the moment from Indonesia, Russia, and there's one at Guam there. Well, let's try this Guam one first and see how we go with that. I'll just widen out the camera so we can actually see the grid tracker. I'm using grid tracker and WSJT-X. So it's just 12:26 Eastern time in Australia at the moment. So, well, I don't know why I can't hear. There we go. And let's have a look at, let's see where we're getting out. Getting as far as Japan. We've got a couple of contacts there in Fiji. We're being seen in Fiji. So at the moment here, we're just on 15 metres. And we're calling KG6JDX, good call sign for doing long distance. And if I go to PSK reporter, it doesn't look like getting as far as Fiji, but not. It must be skipping over Guam for some reason. Anyway, we'll keep trying. I'm getting him at a -19, so that's possibly why he's not hearing me. Just make sure my timing is good. I've got a couple of 0.6s there. I'll just adjust the clock. So local offset 0.001. Found a little gap here. You can just see there's a lot of noise there. Got a bit of a gap there. A little bit more of a gap there. I might put my receive gap here as well, just so I can actually so I can pick up some better signals. So just a matter of clicking the mouse and just moving the receive. So I'm transmitting in that bandwidth 350 and 402 receiving. So that might allow me to see a few more stations. At the moment, that Guam station has dropped off the map. I don't know where he's gone. So there's Indonesia, European, Russia and Fiji, which are the only three stations. According to the band activity from Grid Tracker, we've got 15, 20 both active. I might go up to 20 and try 20 as well and see what happens with 20. Might even try this Russian station as well. So we've got RP76H. Try him. At the moment, there's Guam there. Nothing heard from him. So let's switch over to. Oh, he's actually doing a contact at the moment. Fiji. See that station all the time. 3D2ZK. Oh, here we go. And we have got the Guam station, KG6JDX. So he's replied to me. He's seeing me at a -13. And I'm seeing him at -17. That was a quick contact. Very good. So that's possibly my first Guam station. And let's try for this Russian station. See what happens there. That's RP76H, European Russia, which is way over the other side. Normally Pacific Russia I can get quite easily, but European Russia sometimes is a little bit harder. And this, he's seeing me at a -10, which isn't too bad, really. So we'll see what happens there. And we are seeing. Here we go. So if you're wondering what this is, I'll just bring it over a bit. There we go. So this is the QRZ lookup. So as soon as it notifies that we're seeing a station, it brings up the QRZ, whatever you've got on QRZ. If you've got a picture on QRZ, it'll bring up that, or it's got all the information of the station. And then just another bit of an explainer here. If you're not used to Grid Tracker is fantastic because it does show you the band activity, what bands are active, and I use it in companion with WSJT-X. So if you have the double click set up in the settings, if I go to settings and double click call sets on TX there, if you have that set up, when you either double click in WSJT-X or you double click on your call roster, I'll bring the call roster down now so you can see. So these are the stations that I'm seeing on here, and I just like the representation it shows here, where you've got the colours and the separation. It's a little bit easier to see than what it is on there, and it highlights a few things like, for instance, the CQ. You can see that the Fiji station is calling CQ. If you look over here, you can see it there. It's usually green, but I've changed the colours there, so I'm even confusing myself now on what those colours are. But it means that if I want to quickly double click there on 3D2ZK, it's automatically put it in there, but we won't put the call out to them. I'll just put myself in there. So yep, we've done a CQ. But that's the great thing, is that you can actually quickly hit a station, shows you what you're receiving. There's so many options in Grid Tracker. It is a fantastic resource as a companion with WSJT-X. The other one that I also use is PSK Reporter, and PSK Reporter's quite good because it does quickly show you your output, and even if you're doing phone or voice, what it's great for is actually seeing where your signal is. So if I wanted to call the States right now on 15 meters, I know that I'm not actually getting there. So at the moment I'm going directly north, so I'm located here in Sydney, and all I'm seeing is just north. The grey line just shows here that the west coast of the United States is going in tonight, so maybe they will start to come up on the lower bands, and I do see a little bit of activity on the lower bands, but I've got quite good range there. I'm going to try this Russian one again, P7. Let's see what happens with that. Let's see where he actually is. Yeah, see, he's way over here in the other side of Russia, and it says I'm getting to him, or he's seeing me at a -15. A lot of people don't like -15s, but where I am, -15 is pretty good. Got a lot of noise on the top there and a lot of noise on the bottom. One of the things is that I've got a power grid near me, so there's quite a big bit of interference directly to the west of where I am, which does make a bit of difference. So let's have a look here. Right, so we've got 15 meters, we've got 20 meters active. Let's have a look, Indonesia. Might even bring this down here. Can you see that there? Yeah. That's probably better to be able to see what I'm looking at on the. I've got a screen there and a screen above, which you can't see, and that actually makes it easier so I can see PSK Reporter. Right, so I'm just going to come off the transmit and just wait a second there in case anyone's trying to call me. I'm going to go over to 20 meters and see what happens on 20 meters, because at the moment not a lot of activity there. I'm just going to clear these screens. So and one of the best things you can do for listening out on a band is just actually listen, because if you're transmitting in the even or the odd slot, you might actually miss some calls. So the best thing I find is to actually just sit on the band once you've changed over and then actually see what comes in. So at the moment we've got a New Zealand station there, ZL3 AAD. He's talking at the moment to H2MK. So that's why usually I just wait until you start to see a bit of band activity. If you go straight in transmitting, you could be transmitting over the top of somebody, and everybody might be transmitting on the same slot, so you might not even hear anybody right from the start. So I'm going to double click this ZL station and put a call out to him and see what happens. If you're new to FT8, I've explained a few things there, but if you do want any other information about FT8, I'm more than happy to walk people through it. I'm no complete expert on it, but I have been doing it for a while, so I know some of the tips. One of the hardest things to get with FT8 is your audio. Now, I've done FT8 through a Raspberry Pi, I've done it through a Mac, and I'm now doing it through a PC. I found the Mac to be very stable, and in terms of stable, what I mean is the audio, and that seems to be the hardest thing. I find that on the Raspberry Pi I'd have to reset it all the time because for some reason the audio would change, and it's about your quality of the audio coming into the receive. Even that, I should say, is a little bit too high. I might just turn the AF down a bit on the radio so I can actually decode a bit easier. The other thing is the audio going in. First of all, you want to make sure that if you're using a sound card, you want to turn off any other things in your sound card like dings, all those typical Windows things. You just want to make sure that what's going out to your radio is nice and clean. But even today, I've actually had to change my PC. Had to reset the PC once. We were doing the FT8 earlier today, and had to actually reset it halfway through, simply because the radio wasn't receiving a nice clean audio signal. So yeah, audio is the trickiest thing with doing FT8, especially with WSJT-X. But sometimes I've experimented with having the ALC, and if you've seen any of my earlier streams, I used to have the ALC quite high, and now I've only got it fairly low, like only about 3 or 4 bars on the ALC meter, and in fact, when I look at the audio signal on the radio, it actually looks still to be a little bit too high. So I'm not convinced that even having 3 bars is actually putting it out too high. So I'm going to stop there now on 20 meters. It's just doing its last round of transmits, and that ZL station still trying to call that same H2MK, so he might not be getting out there. And if I'm looking on PSK Reporter, 2 minutes ago I was heard, but certainly right at the moment 15 meters, even though this little bar graph here is showing 20 meters is better. At the moment where I am, 15 meters is better, so I'm just going to flick back over to 15 meters, clear the screens so it comes up with a nice clean screen, and go back into CQ down here, and the next thing we're going to click is enable TX, and suddenly I've got 2 Indonesian stations come through, and they are on the even. So let me just turn the TX off for the moment, take my own advice and actually listen when I change bands. So 3 Indonesian stations there. They all seem to be on the even. Right, so let's do CQ to this one. YB9 Bravo Charlie Sierra. And my receive is just a little bit low. And I find got to turn the ALC or the AF gain up a bit more on 15 meters than other bands. As soon as I go down to 20 meters or 40 meters, I have to make sure that that AF gain is way down. So let's see, we've only got those 3 Indonesian stations. So it is daytime here at the moment in Australia. So I would expect some of the lower bands to be a little bit more active. We might stop the stream and actually come back on in about another hour and pick it up from there and see what happens with the stream getting a bit further either to the north, to the States, or into Europe. But yeah, at the moment we're pretty quiet, so we'll stop our stream on YouTube and we'll come back probably in about an hour's time. And if you've joined us here, thanks for joining us.